everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for my October Diversify Me game. So I will link the playlist for this game in the description below so that you can go and find out what on earth I'm talking about. But to be very brief, I play a game every single month in which I need to meet certain requirements with the books that I read, and some of it is just tracking how that goes, and some of it is making sure that I am reading certain types of books. So it's all about, as the name suggests, diversifying my reading. A couple of years ago I decided that I really needed to work on diversifying my reading, specifically around reading from diverse backgrounds and diverse points of view. So to that end I'll show you the board. I have this board. I have this section over here, which I'll talk about first. This is the unhappy section, and the two things that I decided were of the most importance in terms of diversifying were that I read from more Black, Indigenous or person of colour authors, and then I read books with more LGBTQIA+ rep in them. So every single month I have to have read at least one book that has LGBTQIA+ rep or is written by a BIPOC author. If I don't, then I get a line next to that month in the unhappy column, which I'll come back to. Now then, over here we have all of the smiley face stuff, and the smiley face column we have BIPOC, LGBTQIA+, and we have a bunch of other things that I wanted to try and think about when I was reading, making sure that I'm diversifying. So each time that I do have one of these things, I get a line next to it under the smiley face. Once I have got 3 lines, then I'm allowed to give myself a magnet, and once I have filled up this space here with magnets, then I get to pull a prize out of the prize box and I'll get to do that prize. So I'm fairly close. I did manage to get the prize last year, at the end of last year, so I'm hoping that I'll get the prize at the end of this year. I haven't had to take any magnets off yet. As you can see, I have no lines under the happy face, so I'm at least fulfilling that one thing that I wanted to fulfill. But yeah, that is what we're going to do today. I am also going to talk you through all of the stats for the books that I've read in the month of October. So I think what I'm going to do is what I've done every single month for the last few months, is I'm going to take you over and we'll do the game, and then I'll come back and we'll talk through stats. So let's go set up the game now, and then I'll see you back here in a bit. Okay, so I just ran through everything, thought I'd filmed it all, and realised that it hadn't filmed. So I think I still need to remove this. I removed most of them, but I don't think I've removed that line there, which gives it away that I didn't, in fact, have to give myself a bad line for that. However, I'm now going to go back through and go through it all again. So the first book in the journal is where we're going to start, and that is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. Alex E. Harrow is not a BIPOC author, so I do not get a line for that. There is LGBTQIA+ rep in The Once and Future Witches, so I get a line for that, and I've already added the magnet. So, but yay, I got a magnet. Neurodiverse, I don't think so, no, but there is some mental and physical health rep in there, so we'll put a line there. She's not an Australian Aboriginal author. It wasn't translated. It is not a comic or a graphic novel. It is not a short story. I didn't read it as an arc, and it's not non-European inspired. So that was The Once and Future Witches. Then we move on to If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. M.L. Rio is not a BIPOC author. There was, however, some LGBTQIA+ rep there. Did I already give myself that line? I think I already gave myself that line. That's okay. I've gotten myself confused there, but no, I already gave myself that line. So that's fine. I mean, that magnet. Where am I? Do live for villains. Not neurodiverse. I wouldn't say really mental or physical health. Not an Australian Aboriginal author. Wasn't translated. Is not a comic or graphic novel. Wasn't a short story. Didn't read it as an arc, and is not non-European inspired. Alright, then we have The Only Good Indians, and Stephen Graham Jones is the author, and he is a First Nations North American author, so I get a line for that. There was no LGBTQIA+ rep. no neurodiverse, wouldn't really say mental or physical health rep. He's not an Australian First Nations author though, wasn't translated, isn't a comic or graphic novel, wasn't a short story, didn't read it as an arc, and I would say non-European inspired, which that line I forgot to rub out. So that line is this one that I gave myself before. Then we have City of Dragons by Robin Hobb. Robin Hobb is not a BIPOC author, so there's no lines there. This is where I get confused. No, I definitely have more. So there is LGBTQIA plus rep. Non-neurodiverse, I wouldn't say. There is some mental and physical health rep. Not an Australian Aboriginal author. It was not translated. What I read wasn't a translated version. It is not a comic or graphic novel. Not a short story. Didn't read it as an arc. And not non-European inspired. And basically the same goes for Blood of Dragons by Robin Hobb, so I do get a line in LGBTQIA+, and I do get a line in mental and physical health, but that's another line. Is it? Yes it is. So I get another 3 lines, so I get another magnet. Woohoo! Getting close. Alright, and then we have The Wife and the Widow. Christian White is not a BIPOC author. There was no not very good LGBTQIA+ rep. No neurodiverse rep. No mental or physical health, I wouldn't say. Not an Australian Aboriginal. Not translated. Not a comic or graphic novel. Not a short story. Didn't read it as an arc, and not non-European inspired. And then finally we have the Iliad. So, Homer was not a BIPOC author. There is no LGBTQIA+ rep in the Iliad. There is in many retellings, but there's not in the Iliad itself. No neurodiverse rep. No physical or mental health rep. Not an Australian Aboriginal author. It was translated though, and that is another line that I don't need to give myself because I forgot to rub it out. That's okay. It is not, or I didn't read it as a comic or graphic novel. It might be retold as a comic or graphic novel, but that's not the one I read. It's not a short story. Didn't read it as an arc, definitely. And not non-European inspired. And that's everything. So I'm going to go back and sit back in the chair and talk to you about the stats. Okay, so stats for October. In October I read 7 books because some of those books involved finishing off books that I'd been working on in previous months. The amount of pages that I read was only 2,953. I feel like it would have been slightly higher if I had not had books that I'd been finishing off. That's okay. For all of these 7 books, they were all physical, so that was 7 physical books, which meant no ebooks and no audiobooks. For the LGBTQIA+ rep, I had 4 books that had LGBTQIA+ rep, which is, I think, the most amount in 1 month that I've read, so I'm pretty happy with that. However, I only had 1 BIPOC author. Still didn't get a punishment for that, but just the 1 BIPOC author is probably not amazing, but you know, I did it. None of those authors were Australian Aboriginal authors. I didn't read any books that were translated, and I didn't read any arcs. I'm going to talk more about that in my goals video for next year. So I do talk you through my star breakdown, but I don't talk you through core pile breakdown, but I do give you an average for both star and core pile. So for star breakdown, I had no books that were either 1 or 1.5 stars. I had no books that were either 2 or 2.5 stars. I had 1 book that was 3 stars. I had 3 books that were 3.5 stars. I didn't have any books that were 4 stars, and I didn't have any books that were 4.5 stars. However, I did have 3 books that were 5 stars, which is absolutely fantastic. My average, therefore, for core pile was 7.65 and 4 star was 4.1, which is amazing. The genre breakdown this month, I've read 3 fantasy books, I read 1 mystery, I read 1 dark academia, I read 2 horror, and I read 1 mythology. So yeah, back to my usual with fantasy, but 2 horror is quite unusual for me, so I'm pretty happy with that in terms of diversification as well. Nice, quick, easy video for you all today. Please comment anything that you would like to comment down below. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me a smiley face, because we have the smiley faces on the game board. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.